What is good, everybody? My name is Polo. Hope you guys are doing well today. And today I'm reacting to a video titled Casually Explained the English Language. Before we get started, if you like this type of content, do me a big favor and like the video. Let's get right into it.
While most people in the world are forced to learn English if they ever want to leave their country for an international career, English speakers routinely visit other countries for leisure, not learn the language, and then get mad when no one understands them. English is such an influential language, in fact, that most people from English-speaking countries never even consider learning a second language to fluency. If we look at a map of Europe, we can see that the average person in Sweden or Norway knows 2.5 languages, Germany 2, the UK is trailing with 1.6, and America is still figuring out what a kilometer is. One redeeming factoid that I've heard quite frequently from English-speaking people is that English is one of the hardest languages to learn.
These are facts. You know, the American will go to another country and be like, man, all these foreigners don't know how to speak English. What's going on? You know,
and America is still figuring out what a kilometer is. One redeeming factoid that I've heard quite frequently from English-speaking people is that English is one of the hardest languages to learn, which isn't true. Well, I know that they just want to feel good about themselves. They should know by now that no one is allowed to feel good about themselves on my watch, especially myself. In reality, how hard a language is to learn is actually only really related to how similar it is to the language you already know. So for an English speaker, it usually takes about 600 hours of dedicated study and practice to reach conversational fluency in any of the Romance or...
Okay, so 600 hours to speak French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Norwegian, Swedish, and Dutch. Out of these languages, of course, the one that entices me most is probably Spanish, you know, but if I could pick, probably would be Japanese. But I heard that that's one of the more difficult languages to learn. You know, I don't think I've run across many people in America that speak both English and Japanese that's not from the area, excuse me.
600 hours of dedicated study and practice to reach conversational fluency in any of the Romance or Scandinavian languages, then around twice as long for Greek, Hebrew, or Slavic languages, then around twice as long as that again for Arabic, Japanese, Korean, Assembly, or Mandarin. So if you're learning English and speak any of those languages, then pretty much the reverse applies. What is true, though, is that English has quite a few quirks that make it easier to learn than other languages in some ways, and quirks that make it way harder as well. One of the best features of English is that we don't have masculine, feminine, or neutral. We just have the definite article, the table, the refrigerator, and there are no regular nouns with gender, making English the ultimate safe space language. The downside, however, is that while I was trying to learn French, I would say, j'aime le chocolat. And people would say, le chocolat, le. The North Americans are so stupid. And that would hurt my feelings because I was trying my best. But when anyone is learning English as a second language and they say, the chocolate, and then I say, the chocolate, and they're like, the chocolate. And I always think, not so easy now, is it, baguette boy? This is why you haven't been a world superpower for 300 years. What I'm trying to say is that while English nouns have no gender, the definite article the is a nightmare for most trying to learn it because one of the most difficult sounds to pronounce in English is the TH sound, th. I mean, not for me, I fucking nailed it, but for non-English speaking people who usually replace it with this.
For me, because I'm black, it's axe, ask, axe, you know, it's ask. I have to make an extra effort to say ask and a few other words as well, you know.
Z, D, or an F. And if you've ever talked to someone learning English, you'll notice that one of the hardest words to pronounce is squirrel. Again, not for me. It's really just home run after home run. But if you're really looking to knock someone international down a few pegs, here's a few things that can be extremely hard to say even for English speakers. So
if you guys want a really good laugh, look up Boosie trying to say the word influential. All right, it's a nice laugh. All right.
Someone learning English, you'll notice that one of the hardest words to pronounce is squirrel. Again, not for me. It's really just home run after home run. But if you're really looking to knock someone international down a few pegs, here's a few things that can be extremely hard to say even for English speakers. So when I put it on the screen, we can all try to say it at the same time.
All right.
Anemone.
Anemone. Let me hear him say it again.
We can all try to say it at the same time. Anemone.
Anemone.
3/1000ths.
3/1000ths. Close enough.
Rural brewery.
Rural brewery. All right. These are pretty good. I love you. Come on, man.
Thanks, guys. I needed that. Additionally, in comparison to Romance languages, pronunciation in English isn't always consistent phonetically. As an example, in French you have bon, son, pon, fon. But if you try that in English, you get hat, rat, chat, wet. See, it just doesn't work.
Say
I mean, if you come across a word you haven't seen in English before, it's sometimes impossible to know how it's pronounced. Take these, for example. Though, through, thought, tough, cough, plow, and sometimes you even have hiccups. Not me, though, obviously, I never choke. Within English, there are also many dialects of the same language. For example, while American English is mostly removing redundancies in spelling and saying eggplant instead of aubergine or niche instead of niche, again, basically anything that takes more power away from the French.
Or bass instead of bass, or like whenever I see the word bass, my brain always sees bass. Okay. You know what I mean? Or is it just me, you know?
Again, basically anything that takes more power away.
And I'm talking about the BASS, not the BASE, you know? Sorry, let's go.
Aubergine or niche instead of niche. Again, basically anything that takes more power away from the French. British English removes a lot of redundancies from entire words. As an example, in American English you would say, I have to go down the elevator and get a ride so I can go and work out. But in British English you just say, I have to take the lift so I can get a lift so I can go and lift. And then in Australian English, they just completely change entire sentences in the most internationally destructive way possible. As an example, in Australian English you would say, Oi, don't you love it when a good cunt's wearing a hot pair of thongs?
That's pretty good.
Well, most North Americans would say, oh my goodness gracious, Rachel, get the Bible. What that actually translates to in American English is, hey, don't you love it when your friend is wearing a cool pair of flip-flops?
Also, like in, I think I saw a video where they don't like that we say, speaking of the Brits, when we say sidewalk, they just say the pavement, I think. You know, they don't like that for whatever reasons, but what's wrong with us being specific?
Hey, don't you love it when your friend is wearing a cool pair of flip-flops? Ultimately, though, every English accent has its advantages and disadvantages. Jamaicans sound cool, but I can't understand them. South Africans sound cool, but I can't understand them. People from Scotland and Wales sound cool, but I'm pretty sure they aren't speaking English. And then people from America sound less cool the higher their neighborhood GDP. Even for me, I have possibly the most generic Pacific Northwest accent imaginable, meaning that I am never allowed to rap. And while that means I am unable to live up to my true potential, the upside is I can do this. Hey Siri, okay Google, subscribe to Casually Explained.
Oosh.
If that didn't work, you're lucky you're wearing headphones, because next time you have them out for 20 seconds, I'm texting your mom. I am just kidding, of course. I can already do that from my phone.
This comes from the channel Casually Explained. Do check out the channel. Very entertaining stuff, all right? I barely even know the English language. So here I am thinking about learning Spanish, you know, but, I looked it up. It would take me at least 5 years to learn Japanese, you know, like or so, you know, with a lot of hours and putting in work. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to speak English, and then I might move on to Spanish. I don't know. If you guys who speak a different language, what language do you speak? And if you speak multiple languages, let me know how many you speak. Being that most of my viewers are from America, you know, I'd be interested to see how many people are bilingual in the comments section below. And that's what I got for you guys today. If you like the video, do me a big favor and like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until I see you guys next time, peace.
Yeah! Look what I have created!